Hey everybody, it's Peter from peterstestprep.com. Today we're going to look at part 2 of averages and medians. This is advanced material, so if you're looking to score in the high 20s, you need to be familiar with this stuff. If you're looking to score in the 30s, then you definitely need to know this material. There's a worksheet that goes with the video. You can access the worksheet. There's a link in the description below the video. Click on that, print it out, and follow along and do the problems when I tell you to do them. You'll pause the video and do the problems, and then, or try your best to do them, and then we'll go over them afterwards. It's not a long lesson, but extremely important. So let's begin.
We're going to be looking at two types of word problems. There may be overlap between them. These are tools that you have that I'm going to give you for handling these kinds of word problems that come up in the world of averages and medians. Let's take a look at the first type of word problem. This is actually pretty common. Let's look at example 1A, show you how to handle it, and then we'll each try a couple of problems on your own. 1A, the median of a set of 5 numbers is 10. If two of the numbers are 1 and 2 and the mode is 16, find the mean of the 5 numbers. Now, the median of a set of 5 numbers is 10. I'm going to actually write down a little line to represent each of the numbers in the list. And this is a way I would normally handle a problem like this. If they tell me there's a certain number of numbers and I'm being given information about the median, this is usually a good way to get started here. And then it's like a little puzzle as you put each of the pieces together, one at a time. First, the median is 10. So I put a 10 there because that's going to be the middle number. Two of the numbers are 1 and 2. Well, the first two numbers of the set have to be 1 and 2. They have to go here because if 10 is the median, these guys have to be smaller. Then they tell us the mode is 16. Well, that means there's more than one 16. That means both of these numbers have to be 16, and our list is complete. And then answering the question is easy. The mean is going to be equal to the sum divided by the number of terms, and we have a total of 9 for the mean. So, as it says here in the box, often the first step in a word problem of this type is to draw a line for each number and then start filling them in using all of the different clues that they'll give you. All right, so there's 3 problems here that we're going to ask you to do, and I'm going to have you pause the video. There'll be a little blue screen that appears for 3 seconds that will tell you to do these 3 problems, and that's your pause section. So go ahead and pause the video, try the 3 problems, important to do these, and we'll go over them on the other side. Looking at 1B, a list is comprised of 5 distinct integers. Distinct means different. That's a term of art you'll see in the math section. Distinct means different. Here are my 5 numbers. Now we're just going to go through the clues here. The highest number is 100. Then it tells us that the range is 18. Well, what can we do with that? Well, the range is the difference between the highest and the lowest. So if the highest number is 100, the lowest must be 18 less than that, or 82. The median is 84. Well, now they tell us the mean is 88, and we should find the second highest score. That's this one here. Well, do we have enough information? We need to get the second number here. Well, it turns out we can get that because if these are all integers and they're distinct, this guy here has to be an 83. Now we'll just make that x, and we can set up an equation to find the average of all of these terms. 82 plus 83 plus 84 plus x plus 100, all divided by 5 has to equal 88. And the result of that will be 91. So x will be 91. Hopefully we got that. In 1C, now we have a list of 6 quiz scores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 3 highest scores are 11, 11, and 13. That's easy enough. The mode is 9. Now we have 2 11s, so if the mode is 9, there must be more 9s than 11s. And since there's 3 spaces here, that means that all of these are equal to 3. The median will just be the average of the middle 2 numbers because we have an even number of terms. And so our answer is 10. Finally, we'll go to 1D. And we're going to be looking here at Mr. Cantaloupe again and his class. And Mr. Cantaloupe has 10 students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Only integer scores are allowed on his quiz. The only possible scores range from 60 to 80 inclusive. That means including 60 and 80. And Mr. C found that no two students achieved the same score, so they're going to be distinct. Well, let's see if we can start filling some of these things in. The median is 72. Now, we have an even number of terms, so that doesn't necessarily mean that anybody or any of these scores is actually 72. So we're just going to have to put a hold on that there. The lowest 40% of the scores were all less than 65. So all of these here are less than 65. So maybe you'll just put in 60, 61, 62, 63. Doesn't really matter. One of the scores was 68. What can we do with that? Well, if the median's 72 and all of these four scores are less than 65, this one here has to be 68. And if that's 68 and the median is 72, well, the number that goes in this spot here has to be when you average it with 68, giving us a result of 72. So that's going to be a 76. And that's all they told us. Now they ask us to find the mean of the four highest scores. Well, again, this is just logic. If the highest score you can get is 80 and no two scores repeat, and we know this one's 76, these have to be 77, 78, 79, and 80. And if you just calculate the mean of all of those, you'll get 78.5. In part 2, word problems 2, we're going to look at problems with variables or not enough information. And we're going to discuss here the topic of picking numbers to answer a question. There's a whole nother video on this, using picking numbers as a way to find the answers to certain problems. Usually when you have variables in the answers, that's a clue. But for now, for the purposes of this lesson, I'm telling you that we are practicing this method. We're going to do 2a together. The average of a and b is c, and the average of x and y is z. So the average of a and b is c, the average of x and y is z. Now, we could go about here making equations, but what I'm going to do instead is step 1 of picking numbers, which is to pick numbers. I'm picking numbers to represent the different variables. So if the average of a and b is c, I can make a 2 and b 4, which means c is going to be 3 because it's the average of a and b. And if the average of x and y is z, I'm going to make x 6 and y 8, which means z is going to be 7. And the beauty of picking numbers is it doesn't matter what numbers you pick as long as the numbers you pick satisfy the requirements of the problem. Step 2 is now using your values, answer the question. The question is asking us what is the average of c and z. Well, c and z are 3 and 7, so my average is 5, right? 3 plus 7 is 10 over 2. That's the number looking to match. Looking to match how? By step 3, which is plug in your values into the answers. So a is 2, b is 4, x is 6, y is 8. And when we plug that into answer A, 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 divided by 4, we get 20 over 4, and that equals 5. And that's our answer. If you plug in 2, 4, 6, and 8 into the other answers, you will not get 5. But since the answer to our question based on the numbers that we picked was 5, that's the number we're looking to match. All right. On page 2, we have questions 2b and 2c. See if you can do these. These are tough questions. There's no doubt. These are hard questions. But if you can pick numbers successfully, it'll be easier to get the right answer by doing so. So give them a try, pause the video, and then we'll go over them right afterwards. Taking a look at 2b, This is a problem where it feels like there's not enough information. I mean, they're only giving us a couple numbers to work with here, that their average was 120. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off first by picking a value, picking a number to represent their scores for Monday. So since the average was 120, I'll say Al had 118 and Bella had 122. Now on Tuesday, they play again. Al's score went up by M points. So I'm going to make M equal to 5. Any number will work here. His new score is 123. Now we're next told that Bella's score will have decreased enough so that the new mean score for Tuesday will be 114. So we've got to figure out now what Bella scored on Tuesday. Well, Al's 123 plus Bella's unknown score, divide that by 2. The average of that has to be 114. And when we solve that, we will get 105. So her score went down from 122 to 105 by a total of 17 points down. Her score went down 17 points. Well, hopefully one of these answers now, this is the last step, one of these answers will equal 17 when we plug m equals 5 in there. And it turns out answer C works. 5 plus 12 is 17. 2C is even more wicked. We've got a couple of variables here. Everything's in terms of x and y. There are 8 girls in a class, and their mean score on an exam was y. So let's see, I've got 8 girls, and their mean score, which is y, I'm just going to say 100. Again, it doesn't matter what numbers you pick as long as you follow the process, you'll get the right answer. That's the beauty of picking numbers. Now, there are 8x boys, so I'm going to make x equal to 2. All right, so that means there's 16 boys, and the mean score on an exam for the boys was 80. All right, 8 girls, their mean value of y is 100. For the 16 boys, the mean value is 80. The question is asking for the average score for the entire class. So we need to figure out then what the total scores were, the total sum of all of the scores. Now, if there's 8 girls and their mean was 100, we know that 100 has to equal x over 8, right? This is from the video on averages and medians, part 1. This is how you handle this kind of a problem, but you just probably know at this point that you would multiply 100 times 8 so that the sum of the girls' scores is 800. Whereas with respect to the 16 boys who have a mean of 80, the sum of their scores is 1280. So the final average for the entire class is you take the total sum divided by the total number of students. The sum is 800 plus 1280. We divide that by the total number of students, which is 24. And what we'll do is we'll get 86.6 repeating. That's your number to match. The last step is simply to plug in x equals 2 and y equals 100 into all of these answers. And D will turn out to give us 86.6 repeating. I'll just quickly go through that. 80 times 2, right? X is 2, and y is 100, and I'm going to divide that by x plus 1. That is to say 2 plus 1 is 3. You get 260 over 3, and that is indeed 86.6 repeating, and we get a match, and that's our answer. Lastly, we're going to go to section 3, arithmetic sequences and how they're connected to median and mode. For 3A, we're just going to ask you very simply to write down your own arithmetic sequence of 5 terms, and hopefully you remember that an arithmetic sequence is one in which you're always adding the same value from one term to the next, and that gives you your sequence. So give us a sequence of 5 terms, just write it down, then determine what the mean of your list of numbers is and what the median is of your list of numbers. Pause the video, do that, please. You can make up any arithmetic sequence. I'm going to create this one here. So in my arithmetic sequence, I'm always adding 4. And I've created 5 terms, and your first term doesn't matter. What is the mean of the list? If I add it up and divide by 5, I get 11. The median of the list is just the middle number, which is 11. And this is just a true thing, and it's come up a few times on the ACT exam. They've tested this. So if you just know that for any arithmetic sequence of numbers, the mean and the median are the same, that can save you a little bit of heartache as well as a lot of work. That's the end of this lesson. If you're looking to get 30 or above, you want to know this stuff as well as possible. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.